for our hearing tonight, verses 13 and 14. For the sake of time, again, we're going to be in the 27th number of Psalms, and we begin reading at verses 13 through 14. Very familiar passage. It says, I had fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Verse 14 says, wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. I want to use a subject and bring to your attention for just a few moments. Don't quit now. Don't quit now. Can you just say that to yourself tonight? Don't quit now. You know, we're living in a time now where things are a lot different, so we're not doing a whole lot of talking to our neighbors and a whole lot of touching our neighbors. This is personal moment and personal time, so we can talk to ourselves and minister and encourage ourselves. So I'm encouraging myself tonight as you encourage yourself, and simply say, don't quit now. If you're watching us on social media, you just type that in the comments tonight. Don't quit now. These words were penned by the man that slew the great giant Goliath, and who was honored as one that slew his tens of thousands. Yet he admits that without trust in God, his heart would faint and he would be in despair. Theologians like to debate as to what event was occurring in David's life when he penned this psalm. Some think David penned this psalm before his coming to the throne, when he was in the midst of his troubles, or on the occasion of the death of his parents. But if we look at the 27th number of Psalm, David begins by saying, the Lord is my light. In other words, he was saying he was indeed a burning and shining light, and what light God departed on him reflected on the people. David says that he is my salvation, and whom I am safe, by whom I shall be saved. As I was reading that, I thought about the game of baseball. When as a child we used to play baseball, and even as moved up into my older years, we played baseball. And in baseball, it's just like in life, you are faced with different challenges. You have an opponent that is against you, and you have another team of players, and every now and then in baseball you're thrown different types of balls that come your way. There are some balls that you can knock and hit a home run, and then every now and then one will sneak up on you, and we call that a curve ball, which can prevent you and cause you to what we know as a foul. And every now and then life will throw you some curveballs. Life will present some things to you that catch you by surprise. You wasn't expecting it. You wasn't prepared for it, but it just come your way. But in baseball, they prepare you in practice to be prepared for all types of situations and circumstances and occurrences. So practice teach you to be aware of a curveball, because you know when that curveball is coming your way, you know I don't need to swing at that, because experience has taught me if I hit this particular ball, if I attack this particular ball, I have the potential to be put out of the game. But if you stay focused, and if you stay grounded, and you stay rooted in what you've been taught and what you've been instructed, eventually you're going to get a ball that you say, I know this experience, I know this trouble that's coming my way, I've been here before, so I know how to deal with this. And when you hit the ball, there are some balls where you're going to hit a home run, and then there's some you're going to have to play the game. And in life, there are some situations that come into us that we just simply got to play the game. There are some problems we can knock them out of the ballpark, but there are other problems that we simply got to play the game. And when you hit the ball, it's just like the enemy that catch your stuff and want to bring it back to you. But if you just stay encouraged and just keep going and keep moving forward, you will eventually make it to the base. Now, let me tell you, let me help you out that it's not going to be an easy fix. It's not going to be easy. The enemy is going to come after you because he's trying to tag you and get you out of the game. But somebody got to make up in their mind tonight that you're not going to quit and you're not going to give up, but you're going to keep going. But let me tell you, every now and then you might have to get dirty. You might have to get some bruises on you just because you're trying to get to safety. But whatever you do, don't quit. Just keep going. And eventually when you make it to the base, you'll hear the umpire say, save, because you have made it to safety. And that's just like us. And you know what? All of us is in the game. All of us is in the game. And we're moving from different phases in our life. Some of us are at the first base. Some of us is at the second base. And the others are at the third base. But guess what? We all have our eyes on home. Because we know if we can just get home, we're going to be safe. And that's what we got to do as believers. We have to continue to be encouraged and keep our eyes on the finish line. Keep our eyes on home no matter what the enemy tries to bring to us. David says here, he says that God is his strength, the stronghold of his life. In other words, he was saying that God was the protector of his exposed and his weak life. And let me tell you, it's just like God to be your strength even in the most difficult moments, when you are in moments of confusion, when the adversary is after you, when your character is under attack, when your name is under attack, when your ministry is under attack, when your family is under attack, God will still give you an immeasurable amount of strength, because he is our strength and he will hold us together in the most difficult times. If you just stop and just look back over your life and just look at some of the situations that you've been through, some of the trials you had to face, you don't even realize how you made it through it, but it was because of God giving you strength to go through those hard times when we've been in a season where there's so many losses, when it's death after death and sickness after sickness. We will almost have lost our mind, but because God gave us strength, we was able to stand and keep going. And that's what David's saying, that he's a stronghold, that he will hold his life together even in those moments of disparity. David expresses his dependence on God. His hope in God was what ministered to him, and it calmed him, and it calmed his emotions. It kept his mind. And that's what we have to do when we're going through. We got to put our hope and our dependence on God to calm our emotions, because your emotions will drive you. They will control you. They will have you saying and doing things that you know are not right, because you're being driven by your emotions. But we got to be like David, and we got to put dependence on God, and says if he did it before, he can do it again, because he's God of the anchor. That's right, he does not change. He is the same. And another thing, he cannot lie. And I love in Deuteronomy how it says whatever he said, whatever he has spoken, whatever God has spoken to you, he's going to fulfill and he's going to perform it. So we got to put our hope in God, and when we put our hope in him, our mind begins to change, our heart begins to change, your perspective begins to change, because you realize that it's God that's who's in control of your life. And when you put your hope in him, when you put your trust in him, he makes it better for you, and he conditions you to go through it. Now, he may not take you out of it, but he'll give you strength to go through. David was determined in his heart that even if a host was encamped against him, his heart would not fear. We must be just like David, no matter what's going on around us. No matter how the enemy tries to attack us, we must not lose our hope in God. Hebrews 10:3 says it best. It says, let us hold fast to our profession of faith without wavering, for he is faithful that promise. He has promised us that there is something better than this right here. So what we got to do is hold on to what we believe. Hold on and believe that Jesus is our Savior and that he is in control. We got to hold on to the promises that God has given us. And if you, our faith is to see beyond the visible and to discern the invisible. You can't see it with these two physical eyes, because your physical eyes will deceive you. But you got to see this thing in the spirit. You got to see this thing in the spiritual realm, because with my physical eyes I may not be healed, but with my spiritual eyes I am healed. With my physical eyes it may look like that child is not gonna be saved, but with my spiritual eyes, my God, today I see them saved tonight. I may not can see myself out of this situation with my physical eyes, but with my spiritual eyes I see myself, as Bishop Blake says, in the future, and I look much better right now. Is there anybody in this place and watching us online that says, I see myself in the future? And baby, what you see right now is not what's going to always be, because God is getting ready to do something great in my life. The eyes of faith. You got to see beyond the visible and discern the invisible. It is to trust the Lord our God with all our heart for things which we have hoped for. It is the evidence of the reality of things that can only be seen with the eye of faith. You know what, if we in Hebrews, if we just skip over to the next chapter, chapter 11 of Hebrews, the first verse states, now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. You got to have faith, because the Bible tells us without faith, if you keep reading, it says, but without faith in verse 6, it says it is impossible to please him, for he that cometh to God must believe that he is. And I want to drop a pin right there when it says believe that he is. I always tell people, you just fill in the blank. Whatever you need him to be, whatever you want him to be, you just fill in the blank. He is a healer. He is a provider. He is a way maker. He is a promise keeper. He is Jehovah Jireh. He is the King of Kings. He is everything that I need him to be. If you need him to be a father, he is that. If you need him to be a comforter, he will comfort you. If you need him to just stand there with you, he'll be everything. Is there anybody in here tonight say, I tried him and I know that he will be everything that I need him to be? So I'm almost done here. It says that he is a rewarder to them that diligently seek him. Let me tell you, when you seek him and when you get in his presence, he'll reward you. You know, we often sing around here that I'm looking for a miracle. And sometimes I wonder, are we just singing? Do we really believe what we're singing? Because sometimes we do things out of formality and our actions don't line up with what we say and what we do. But when you say something, let me tell you how important words are, because I'm big and I believe, and we just got through discussing about faith and how faith, I believe that God responds to faith. In other words, if you can speak it out of your mouth before it happens, God responds to that. He likes that type of stuff. When you can call out things and you can start speaking and declaring things when you know you don't have the resources and you know you don't have the things that you're speaking, but because you got faith and you know that God is going to do it, you can start speaking things and you can start declaring things because you know that he's going to do it. But a lot of times when we speak it, we don't believe it. But let me tell you, when you release it, that's why you got to be careful what you say, because a lot of people, they speak negative things, and when you speak things out of your mouth, you release it in the atmosphere to be manifested. So you got to make sure that you're putting positive affirmations in the atmosphere. But I wonder sometimes, we say, I'm looking for a miracle, but are you really looking for a miracle? Because let me tell you about the people that's looking for a miracle. Every opportunity that you have to get in his presence, every opportunity that you got to praise and worship him, every opportunity that you got to go before him, you're going to do it. Why? Because you expect him. You saying, God, I'm not going to get up until you bless me. You saying, God, I'm not going to stop praying until you do it. I got to have faith. I'm receiving in faith, and I'm believing you're going to do it. But if you need a miracle, you got to act like you want a miracle. Hebrews 11:40 said, God having provided something better for us. That's the reason why we can't quit. That's the reason why we can't give up. That's the reason why you can't throw in the towel, because he got something better for us. It's something better than this. That's why we can't be discouraged about all the news that's going on and looking at media and social media and seeing all kind of calamity and all kind of things and diseases running this land. But we can't be discouraged by that, because God has something better prepared for us. So that's why you can't quit. That's why you can't throw in the towel. That's why you can't turn around, because he has something better. And if you're looking for something better in your life, I dare you to shout, better. Oh, yes, it's something better than this. It's something better than what we got going on right now. But matter of fact, I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to speak and prophesy to you tonight, and I'm going to speak better into your life. Better is on the way to your household. Better is on the way to your family. Better is on the way to this church. I speak better. It is happening for us. David tells us, as we go back to the 27th number of Psalm, and he tells us to wait on the Lord. He tells us, he gives us, he says, I had fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord. In other words, David said, I would have almost missed it if I gave up. But I'm bringing some things back to my remembrance. That's what he's doing right now. And when you get in trouble, and when you're going through the storm, and when you're going through rain, you ought to start bringing things back to your remembrance. It's not the time to give up. It's not the time to turn your back. But you got to say, God, I remember when my back was against the wall, and you stepped in and you made a way out of no way. God, I remember when I was sick in my body, and you touched my body and healed me. God, I remember when you stepped in and made a way out of no way. When people wrote me off, God, you gave me another chance. You got to start bringing things back to your remembrance. David says, I have fainted unless I have believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And David instructs us, he says we got to wait on the Lord. Verse 14, he says, wait on the Lord. He is instructing us and telling us it may be hot right now. You may be in the fire right now. You may be uncomfortable right now. But he says you got to wait on the Lord. David says, and be of good courage. Now, while you're waiting on the Lord, you got to have an attitude that reflects what you need God to do. So while you're waiting, he says, be of good courage. In other words, you got to be strong in the Lord. You got to be encouraged that God is going to deliver, that God is going to make a way out of no way. He says, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. He says, wait, I say, on the Lord. One of my favorite scriptures in the Bible is Isaiah 40:31. It says, but they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. He says, they shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Somebody here tonight, whether you're in the sanctuary or watching online, you need to know that you need to wait on the Lord. You got to quit, but I've come to encourage you tonight and tell you, don't quit now, because better is on the way. Don't just stop praying and don't you stop fasting. You better not stop praising, and don't you stop worshiping, because better is on the way. You better wait on the Lord. Somebody shout, wait. Oh, wait. My God, tonight, Romans 8:28, another favorite scripture of mine. It says, and we know that all things, they work together for the good to them that love God. Let me help you out tonight. If you love him, it's got to work out. If you serve him, it's got to work out. Whatever you're going through, whatever you're facing right now, don't you give up. It's got to work together. All you got to do is believe that it's already done. Don't you give up. But it says, and we know that all things, the scripture said it. It says all things, no matter what it is, no matter what the problem, no matter what the circumstance, no matter what the situation, it says all things is working together. If you believe it's working together, you ought to give them some praise tonight. You ought to give them some praise tonight. Yeah, better. I'm not done tonight, but I heard Bishop G.E. Patterson say, when your back is against the wall and you feel you're about to fall, you are just right for a miracle. You ought to tell somebody, you are just right for a miracle. Tell yourself, better, it's on the way. Yeah, yeah. Don't you quit. Don't you quit. You stay in the race. Stay faithful. Keep preaching. Keep teaching. Keep singing.